Welcome to Medizzi Museum. I'm Alex DeSalms, the Director of Collections. We get a lot of questions about how it works when people want to offer artifacts or objects to us for our permanent collection or our education collection. So we thought we would give you a video on how it works from our end. So we get an offer of donation. We very rarely ask for something. It's usually people coming to us with offers. And so then we have to review and research the provenance, how they got the object, how it relates to Medizzi, the condition. If it's really poor, in really poor condition, we might not be able to take that because we probably don't have the resources to care for it unless it's very, very important to Medizzi's story. If you're leaving the object on site and we're kind of interested in it and say, oh yeah, we might like that, we'll do some more research on it, you fill out a temporary custody receipt. And this basically says that you're leaving the object with us. And it protects both you and the museum that yes, people know where this is. If you're not from Medizzi and you decide to send something, preferably paper objects or photographs, those are the easiest, then we can send the temporary custody receipt to you and have you send it back with the object when you send it, or you can send the object, we'll fill it out on our end and then send it back to you for you to fill out and return to us. Once we get the paper copy, we will put it in our database. This just is another layer of protection and helps us keep track of things better. After we research and evaluate the object, we do an acquisition review form that just says, here's the condition of it, yes, I think we should accept it, yes. It should go to the permanent collection or it should go to the education collection. Education collection items can be used either by Amy, our Director of Education, for her programs, or for hands-on demonstrations, or for our visitors to handle or to test or see how something would work. After this recommendation, we discuss it as a staff and our director signs off on it. And then we hold a collections committee meeting. Members of the committee are our staff, some of our board of directors, and some volunteers or community members. People who have an idea and care about the museum and know what we might need, what we don't need. We'll schedule a meeting. We'll show either the object itself, if we have it, or a photograph of the object and kind of describe, discuss the object. Here's how the provenance is, here's the benefits or the limitations of accepting, here's what we think should happen, then there's a discussion sometimes, and then there's a vote. And after we go through everything on the docket for that day, we fill out a report to the board that says, this is what came in, this is what we took, this is where it's going, or this is what we didn't take, and here's why. After that comes the processing. So I write letters and give numbers to the objects, and I send out the letter and the paperwork to the donor. For objects we accept into our permanent collection, it's a deed of gift, or in the case of an oral history, it's an oral history deed of gift that just covers a few more rights and uses. If it's something going into the education collection, then it's a deed of non-accession gift. Or sometimes, if it's on the rare occasion it's something we actually purchase or it's a bequest, we have a copy of the purchase receipt or the request or the bequest. We do sometimes take loans. We are trying not to take too many loans because they have to go on exhibit, or at least be something we could use in an exhibit. Our storage is full. We cannot just become a permanent loan storage facility. It doesn't work. We can't handle that. We're full of our stuff. We all have old loans that we're trying to either return or gain ownership of. So loans are going to be very specific, and if we do decide to take your loan for an exhibit, you're going to get a loan agreement, and it's going to be for about 3 years. The time frame is a little negotiable, but it's 1 to 3 years. We don't like to do anything past 3 years because then your ownership of it may change. We then have to track down either the new owner, or we have to fill out additional paperwork, or the new owner may decide that they don't want it on loan anymore and they want to take it back. So it gets complicated after 3 years. And so then after that, if we've decided not to take your object, if we've declined it, we're going to arrange for the return. Then, after we get either the deed of gift back, or sometimes the deed of non-accessioned gift, then we're going to catalog it, which means we give it an object, or we give it an object number, we put it in our database, we number it, we photograph it, we describe it, then we store or house it or put it on display. This is all done by either myself or a collections volunteer. So it does take a while. There's one of me and a volunteer at the moment. It takes a while. And so that's why we can't accept everything. We have to process everything, and it takes a while, and so we have to be aware of what we can and can't take, of how much we can and can't take. Sometimes we find objects in the collection that we don't have information on. We can't find anything in our old loan files. We can't find anything in our previous accession files, and so we start numbering it just with a found in collections number. We continue to check it against the records, and eventually, if we can't find anything on it, we decide after a certain period of time, I believe it's 2 years, we have ownership of it, and here's what we're going to do with it. We should usually either accept it for our permanent collection, or we're going to decline it and deaccession it, and if we haven't fully taken ownership of it, it's not a true deaccession, but we will dispose of it accordingly. So I've been talking about deaccessions. Deaccessions is removing something from our collection with the approval of our collections committee. This is not me just randomly deciding, oh, we don't need this. It's a process, usually because something is hazardous. It's dangerous to staff, it's dangerous to visitors, we can't adequately care for it. Or it's redundant. A common example, not necessarily here, but in a lot of other museums, they talk about, we don't need 20 spinning wheels. We don't have 20 spinning wheels, I believe we have one, but we have a number of other things that are duplicates and redundants, and we don't have enough room for everything. So we're gonna take something either that's in the best condition, or that has the best story, or a photograph that goes with it and shows its use, or who owned it. Sometimes it's just too damaged for us to care for or to use either in an exhibit or on display, and we don't have the time, the funds to take care of it properly. Or it doesn't fit our mission. Earlier, the museum took a lot more things. Some of it doesn't really fit our mission. And so we do our best to either move it to the education collection where we can still use it. For example, if something could have been used in Meeteetse, but it wasn't, people can still see it and see how it would have been used. Or we can offer it to another museum who better fits their mission. So if something's kind of related to Warland, but not really relevant to us, we're probably going to offer it to the Washakie Museum. Or, and a last resort, is to dispose of, either by sale, that's very public, transparent. We're not just going to sell it off to somebody on the board. It's got to be transparent, public. Or we may have to dispose of it. We may have to destroy it. Those are usually the more damaged artifacts or the hazardous artifacts. Sometimes, if we would sell it, we may be able to use the funds for additional collections care. So as you can see, there's a lot of steps to actually getting something into the museum and then on exhibit. So let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.